only platforms? Well, rest assured, there's a link in the description that takes you to the video format of this podcast interview. Now, let's get on with our special guest. Let's get right into it. Listen, a lot of times what gives me the accreditation, if you will, and the representation. Hello, I'm the host of Wild Podcast. My name is Darshawn, man. And it's going down like this.
Big Red helps me around the house. My dream car happens to be a 1300. What's yours?
Anything else you got to say? Any words of maybe encouragement or words of hope? Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Darshawn McAway. You're tuned in to wildpodcast.me. That's WOWPODCAST.me. And today we have a special guest. We have Dr. Roger Leslie. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Darshawn. How are you?
I'm doing well. So we're going to talk about a couple of books. I have a plethora of questions. I hope I can get to them all.
Okay.
But we're here to talk about your book, Light Come Out of the Closet, Memoir of a Gay Soul. My first question to you is, why is it important for you to talk about your sexual orientation? Like, why is it important to tell people that you're gay?
For me, the struggle that I discuss in the book was all about the discord I felt between who I was as a human being and the honorable character that I strove to have, and the image that I thought many people were projecting from my family, from society, and from my religion about what being gay was. So it was a journey back for me to clarify for myself the power of what came through that struggle for me, and then my desire to share it with other people so their struggle might be less.
Got you. So I know a lot of times when we think about men and women who are come out as gay, there's a spiritual context to it. What did you struggle with growing up when it came to your spirituality and your sexual orientation?
As the book explores, I grew up in a very religious household, and I was even sent to a parochial school. The lessons that I was learning about being a good person seemed to be negated by the idea that I was gay. I didn't quite understand how who I was and what I did could be completely thrown away by the fact that I had a natural orientation since birth that I didn't choose. So the struggle for me was, how do I reconcile that spiritual struggle so that I could feel good about myself, still feel good about my spirituality, and move forward so that regardless of what other people thought or said, I could fulfill my destiny.
Now, speaking of destiny, look at all these books that you have, man. Look at this. This is absolutely amazing. I mean, when I went to your website, I was like in awe because I'm thinking like, oh, he just came out with a book or two. Then I go through some more. I'm like, no, he's been attached to everything. So tell me about this experience of when you started to get into writing.
I knew I wanted to be a writer since I was very young. I assumed I would also just always write fiction because that was my favorite. But life led me in different directions and gave me opportunities. And for the first several books that got published were nonfiction. And I was excited to learn that it takes as much creativity to write nonfiction as it does fiction. And so I was just willing to have my vision for what I wanted, that is to be a prolific author, but then have life show me what it needed me to do. And once I was willing to let go of my very strict, narrow idea of what I was going to do as a writer and just take and go wherever life led me, all kinds of opportunities showed up that allowed me to actually fulfill my destiny of being a prolific author.
Right. And job well done. Job well
Thank
done.
you.
So as I was reading through my first last year, it comes off as a bucket list type of book. Is that what that is?
I was inspired to write the book by a dream that told me to live the next year as if I would never experience those 365 calendar dates again. Now, the dream didn't necessarily tell me that I was going to die, but it said pack everything in there. And so that's what I did. I wrote about it, and now I teach classes about it to others to get the most out of life. So more than just a bucket list experience, it was also the opportunity for me to say everything I needed to say to my loved ones, to do everything I wanted to do for myself and for my loved ones, and to leave some kind of legacy, which I believe that most people want to do. They want to do for themselves, do for their loved ones, and leave some kind of positive legacy to this world.
Now, I often ask about legacy. What is your legacy? What is that outlook for you?
My mission in life is to inspire people to live the life they dream and to empower them to follow their own unique spiritual path. So, my legacy, I hope, is the array of books that I've published, the speaking I do, and the teaching I do to help people make their dreams come true and feel okay about following a unique spiritual path.
So, have you been in the process of putting together workshops?
Yes, the first last year workshops I call FLY, and the FLY is an acronym for first last year, FLY. So yes, since about 2015, I've been teaching FLY workshops intermittently. I used to teach them regularly. COVID kind of shifted things like that for me. So now I intermittently teach the FLY courses, and people can find more information about FLY on my website, rogerleslie.com.
Now, in that, did you get a chance to go skydiving or anything like that? Did you do anything dangerous?
Uh, no, but I think taking emotional risks can be very dangerous. I'm
Okay.
not much of a physical daredevil, but I am an emotional daredevil, so I do like to take emotional risks. But no, I've never gone skydiving.
Okay, okay. I figured you went to go swim with the sharks and mess with the whales and stuff like that. Speaking of emotional risk, did you have to take therapy to get over anything, or did you just have a strong family base of coworkers, colleagues, and friends to talk you through your situation?
Interestingly, when I was young, I just worked through everything by myself. I mean, I was in the closet and, during my teen years, I thought there wasn't anybody I could talk to at first. But when you read the book, you'll note that toward the end of the book, I do start opening up to family members and even one of my teachers in high school. But no, I never did therapy during that stage. As an adult, I've done a lot of personal growth workshops, which have helped me tremendously. And then there was at one point when my husband and I finally had a ceremony and got married, which was 23 years after we were together. Um, I did go to therapy because after all that time, my family shut down and completely shut us out when we told them about the wedding. And I was taken aback because they had been so kind to him for years and he'd been such a part of the family for so long. I really needed some professional help to sort through what do I do with that information? Because it seemed that what they had said and done prior to that wasn't the bottom line truth about how they felt about me and about my husband, Jerry. I needed therapy to help me through that.
Got you. So, what is a tip or maybe some context clues a person can do if we have family or friends that want to come out of the closet? Like, what's one of the first things that we should do to, I guess, help that person?
More than anything, I can only speak for myself, but for me, having someone who loved me regardless and didn't change their opinion of me because they had this other information that's always been true of me, but that they may not have known. That was the most helpful thing. So to me, the people that I turned to who became my anchors, those people that still loved and supported me, even if they didn't necessarily agree with me or understand what I was going through, those people helped tremendously. And so that in turn is what I try to do with anybody who comes to me with any issue they have. Not judgment, just compassion, and find the way that I'm able to support at the level that I can offer them guidance or even just openness to hearing what they have to say, even if I don't necessarily have any advice about it.
Right. So, on your off days when you're not writing, what do you do? What's a typical day for you?
So, most of the days that I'm not writing, I'm trying to detox from all the ideas that keep running through my head for the writing because I try to stay in balance. So, I like to exercise. We like to go out. My husband and I enjoy going out to dinner with friends or family members. Um, I do a lot of meditation and prayer work. So just things that balance out, because my mind tends to stay in overdrive because I'm usually writing more than one book at a time. And so it's always generating new ideas, and I'm taking notes and at the computer or at my tablet. So when I'm not writing, I try to do something very different from the writing process, so that when I get back to the writing the next workday, I'm fresh and clear and ready to go.
Now, did you have an opportunity to turn any of these books into a movie, or are you working on that?
I've had some opportunities that came close. There was,
Mm.
for one of my books, there was a cable station was thinking about making a made-for-TV movie of it. We got a little bit through negotiations, and then it just didn't work out. It didn't fall, it all fell through. But I'm still hopeful. I think, there are several books that I have, fiction and nonfiction, that have potential, and I'm just trusting that if it's part of my destiny, that fate will show me the way. I'm not actively pursuing it, but I'm definitely open to it.
So, what did you learn in that process of trying to pitch it?
Actually, I didn't pitch it. The production company came to me. They
Okay.
found one of my novels, Drowning in Secret, and they had come to me. And then at the time, I also had an agent connected to Hollywood because I was writing some of my movie reference books. And so, I learned a little bit more about the inside of the movie industry. Some of that I was able to use for some of my movie reference books, because I learned some inside information about some of the people who work in the industry, which was interesting and helpful. But as far as marketing or negotiating, I had an agent and a lawyer doing that for me. So I really wasn't part of that process myself.
Okay. So, a lot of times I do ask this question: are you self-published, or are you picked up by a traditional publisher?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I'm some of my books are through some of the major publishers, some are through medium presses, some are small presses, and I started my own publishing house where I publish some of my own books, and I also publish other authors. I'm also a writing coach and a professional editor. So aspiring writers or seasoned writers who might be looking for a publisher, that if they have a manuscript that inspires people to live the life they dream, or it follows a unique spiritual path, I'd be interested. They can always email me through my website, rogerleslie.com.
Oh, that's perfect. So you're just helping everybody out, and your publishing company is focused on inspiration and positivity. I like
Yes.
that. I like that a lot. Can you tell us where you do any social media or anything like that?
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram. My marketing expert does most of that for me, but those are the two main venues that I use at this time.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Dr. Roger Leslie, excuse me, and he's here to talk to us about his latest book, Light Come Out the Closet. And I want you guys to go check this out. Look at his website. Look at all these books on here. This is absolutely amazing. When I saw this, man, I'm telling you, I was in awe when I saw this. I was like, this is a busy person. You're always consistently doing things. And the one book that caught my eye the most was the movie reference type of book. Can you give me a little insight about that book? Like, what is that about?
There are actually two there in the picture,
Hmm.
uh, and I'm working on a third right now. The more recent one, which is available through McFarland Publishing House, is called Oscar's Favorite Actors, and the beginning of it focuses on the most nominated and honored actors in film history, and that list includes 108 of them. And then other sections cover other actors who were not nominated, but they deserve to be recognized, and so I cover those actors as well. I love Hollywood. I love movies, so it's always a fun activity for me to write those books.
So before I let you go, what's your favorite movie then?
Well, my all-time favorite movie, saw when I was 11 years old, is The Poseidon Adventure, the original one from 1972. Love
Okay.
the movie, always have. I decided back then it will always be my favorite movie.
Oh, there you go. I got a chance to see that. Someone told me about that. I got a chance to see it. My favorite flick would be Training Day. I can't get
Ah,
enough of watching Training Day. It's just such a good movie.
did you notice that Denzel Washington in Training Day is on the cover of Oscar's Favorite Actors?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I noticed that.
I love Denzel Washington, and when they asked me, what pictures do I want on the cover, when the public, because the publisher was really good working with me, and there are photos inside the book, and they said, "Well, what actors or actresses would you like on the cover? Shelley Winters was nominated for the Poseidon Adventure, so I had her. And they say, who else do you really love? And I said, put Denzel Washington on there. And they put the Training Day scene on the cover.
Yeah, that's what caught my eye, man. That's what caught my eye. Where I'm your host, Darshawn McAway. We're talking to Dr. Roger Leslie. Thank you so much for coming by. I really do appreciate you for your time.
This has been great, Darshawn. You're a wonderful host.
Thank you so much, man. I greatly appreciate it.